Welcome to the Image of History channel. Step back in time with these unseen, historic photos, capturing the daily lives of indigenous tribes in the Wild West. These images provide a glimpse into their rich traditions, struggles, and resilience during a transformative period in American history. The bear dance is a traditional Native American ceremonial dance closely associated with several tribes, particularly the Ute and Shoshone people. It is typically performed during the bear's emergence from hibernation, symbolizing themes of rebirth and renewal as the people celebrate their traditions, land, and heritage. In 1879, Richard Henry Pratt, a former Army officer who had spent years overseeing Indigenous prisoners of war, founded the Carlisle Indian Industrial School. The school was one of the most notorious and influential boarding schools in the United States, with the goal of assimilating Native American children into European American culture. The school's infamous motto was "Kill the Indian, save the man." The Native American students were forced to speak English and cast aside their cultural identities, languages, and traditions. In 1851, when this man was still a young man, his family were slaughtered by Mexican soldiers. This led to an unquenchable thirst for vengeance, which fueled his fearless approach to battle, making him a fierce warrior. His name is Geronimo, and he became a threat to both the American and Mexican militaries. The claw necklaces and fur turbans worn by these 5 people were representative of the Oto tribe. The Oto people were one of the first Native American tribes to come into contact with the Europeans as early as 1673. They signed treaties with the white settlers to live in peace with them, but were eventually driven out of their homeland into reservation camps. This is a Nez Perce warrior, wearing loincloth and moccasins on horseback. Horses played important roles in wars back then because they were a faster means of transportation that did not exhaust the rider. It also provides a significant advantage in combat against foot soldiers. This is an iconic image of Native American history, featuring Irontail and Black Fox, 2 prominent chiefs of different Lakota Sue tribes. While Irontail is dressed in his traditional apparel, including his war bonnet, Black Fox's attire reflects the influence of cowboy culture on indigenous tribes. Native American tribes used highly resourceful and sustainable hunting techniques tailored to the environments they lived in. Bows and arrows were among the most common tools for hunting. However, other tools like spears and atlatls were used to hunt larger animals like bison, elk, and deer. This is a rare, clear picture of a Native American leader and warrior wearing his traditional garments, including a war bonnet. The mark on his face is a face paint the Native Americans draw on their faces, which have deep cultural, spiritual, and practical significance. The marks have different meanings and significance depending on the color and pattern. For instance, while red symbolized war, strength, and energy, white face paint represented peace, purity, and spiritual connection. Likewise, while vertical or horizontal stripes might symbolize courage or calmness, circles often represented wholeness, and dots symbolized prayers and blessings. The Chewing Black Bones campground near Glacier National Park is named after this man to honor his contributions and connection to the region. His name is Chief Chew Black Bones, and he was a notable leader of the Blackfeet Nation located in what is now Montana. Here's a typical Native American nuclear family, showing an Ojibway man with his wife and 2 children. The Ojibway is one of the largest and most influential indigenous tribes in North America. They are part of the Anishinaabe group, which also includes the Odawa and Potawatomi people. This man is the famous Cheyenne warrior known as Wooden Leg. He was renowned for his role in the Battle of Little Bighorn. His nickname came from his ability to walk long distances without tiring. It was almost as if his legs were made of wood. The name Wooden Leg became part of his identity. Before their exposure and assimilation to Western civilization, the indigenous tribes in North America relied on natural water sources for their survival. Rivers, streams, lakes, springs, and wells were valuable sources of water, and each native tribe had their own sophisticated system for the preservation of their resources. Native American tribes crafted arrows and other weapons with remarkable skill, using materials readily available in their environments. Arrow shafts were made from straight, sturdy woods like willow, dogwood, or ash. Arrowheads were crafted from stone, bone, or metal. Sometimes the arrowheads were laced with poison, so even a minor injury from it can result in death. This photo captures the moment a United States allotting surveyor and his interpreter made an American citizen of Chief American Horse. The native man in the war bonnet is Chief American Horse, a prominent Oglala Lakota leader participating officially in legal proceedings aimed at integrating Native Americans into the broader framework of U.S. citizenship and culture. This 1940 photograph captures a group of Native Americans dancing and celebrating during a powwow at Arlee, Montana. The men wear headdresses, jewelry, decorated vests or leather shirts, aprons or decorated leggings, beaded moccasins, and leg bells. The powwow is categorized by singing and dancing and features dances like the grass dance, fancy dance, and jingle dress dance. The purpose of this social gathering is to celebrate their culture, history, and traditions. In 1883, William F. Buffalo Bill Cody created a Wild West show, which combined theatrical performances with reenactments of historical events. The purpose of the show was to present stories of the American frontier in a dramatic and entertaining way, while emphasizing the themes of adventure, exploration, and conflict. Zuya Hayaya is a term from the Lakota Sue language that translates to goes to war or he who goes to war. It is a title given to individuals tasked with defending their people by fighting in battles. This is a real photo of what a Zuya Hayaya looks like, and the girl beside him is his daughter. In 1907, Samson Beaver, a respected member of the Stoney Nakoda First Nation, was photographed alongside his wife and their daughter. Samson Beaver was known for his guiding expertise and remarkable contributions to mapping the Canadian Rockies. His intimate knowledge of the terrain was invaluable to explorers and settlers. In fact, he was instrumental in assisting the famed explorer Mary Schaefer in her journey to Maline Lake in 1908. This is a rare photograph of a Cheyenne warrior and scout famously known as Black Weasel and his wife. Black Weasel was renowned for his contributions during the conflicts between the Native American tribes and the U.S. government. In 1877, a group of Ponca leaders paid an official visit to Washington to meet directly with President Rutherford B. Hayes to address the injustices of their forced relocation from their ancestral land. However, the visit did not result in any significant progress until the historical court case of Standing Bear v. Crook in 1879. The clothes worn by this Native American tribe leader is a fringed dress decorated with elk teeth and beaded earrings. It is deeply significant in the Native American culture, particularly among certain Plains tribes like the Crow and Northern Cheyenne, and is used to depict status, achievement, and cultural identity. The man in this photograph is a prominent Sioux chief and an important figure in Canadian history, known as Poundmaker. His outstanding military career boasted participation in several rebellious conflicts against the Canadian government. He is most well known for his involvement in the Northwest Rebellion of 1885. These two women and the boy were standing in front of their tent-like home in this photograph. The cone-shaped structure behind them is known as a teepee and is made of buffalo hides and wooden poles. It was the most common dwelling for many Plains tribes, such as Lakota, Cheyenne, and Blackfeet. This is a squad of 4 Cheyenne soldiers known as dog soldiers or dogmen. They were responsible for their tribe's internal and external security. Only the bravest of the brave among the Cheyenne warriors were chosen to become dog soldiers, and their dedication to this way of life had a monk-like immersion. These three men are Michael Landon, Nick Ramis, and Chief Geronimo Cuthell, in order from left to right. The two men on the left were actors, although Landon was not a Native American. This picture symbolizes the blend between Hollywood and the indigenous tribes. This is a typical Native American tribe or family. The two men in the center are wearing war bonnets, a feathered headdress traditionally worn by male leaders of the American Plains Indians. The war bonnet is a symbol of Native American power, authority, bravery, and valor. This is a group of armed Sioux scouts in their camp with two white men among them. During the wars between the U.S. government and the Native American tribes, Indigenous from tribes who were allied with the United States were often tasked with scouting duties due to their knowledge of the geography. When the white people began to settle in the country now known as the United States of America, the government forced countless Indigenous out of their ancestral lands into reservation camps that were often overpopulated with terrible living conditions. The Native Americans had a unique naming system among themselves, resulting in some of the most unimaginable names ever. Even though they give their names in their various languages, the English translations are hilarious. For instance, the names of these three men are Standing Bear, Turning Eagle, and Pulls the Arrow Out. Contrary to the popular opinions that the Native American men were savages, they were gentlemen in handling their women. In many tribes, women were highly respected and held essential roles in their societies. In fact, some tribes, such as the Iroquois Confederacy, had a matriarchal system where women held significant power. Water holds deep spiritual and cultural significance for many Native American tribes. Thus, numerous rituals and ceremonies revolve around water. These rituals often honor water as a life-giving and sacred element, reflecting its central role in survival, spirituality, and the natural balance of life. In the same vein, they also have a rich tradition of singing and dancing, often central to their ceremonies and social gatherings. These activities serve as a means of storytelling, spiritual connection, cultural preservation, and community bonding. One of their most notable ceremonies is the Powwow, a social gathering that brings tribes together to celebrate identity, honor traditions, and strengthen community ties. Other popular ceremonies include the Sun Dance, Ghost Dance, Green Corn Ceremony, and Bear Dance, to name just a few. This is a photo of Little Chief, a prominent Cheyenne leader participating in his tribe's native ceremony by dancing. He was known for his leadership diplomacy and contributions during the tumultuous period of Native American history in the 19th century. Little Chief was famous for always advocating for negotiation over conflict. This photo is one of the only few photographs taken of the Native American tribes during the Ghost Dance movement. The Ghost Dance movement was a peaceful ritual meant to give the Native Americans hope and peace during a time of persecution by the U.S. government. However, the movement was misunderstood to be a sign of rebellion and led to the massacre of about 300 Native men, women, and children. This photograph was taken aboard the MS St. Louis, a German ocean liner of the Hamburg America line. The picture shows several Native American leaders and their families or entourage with other passengers aboard the ship. This Native group was either on their way to Europe or returning to the USA. The Standing Rock protest, also known as the Dakota Access Pipeline protests, took place near the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe's reservation in North Dakota. The protests centered around the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline, DAPL, which was being built to transport crude oil from Bakken oil fields in North Dakota to Illinois. The Nez Perce Reuben brothers were a group of notable fighters within the Nez Perce tribe, primarily Oliver and Wesley Reuben. They were involved in significant events during the Nez Perce War of 1877. which was a pivotal conflict between the Nez Perce people and the United States government. This band, under the leadership of Chief Joseph, became famous for its resistance during the Nez Perce War. Here's a group of Native American warriors. Many indigenous tribes have deeply rooted cultural and spiritual beliefs regarding their hair. Hair holds significant symbolism in many Native American cultures, which is why they commonly grow and maintain long hair rather than cutting it. Here's a woman from the Skokomish tribe. They are sometimes referred to as the Big River people. The tribe's name reflects their connection to the Skokomish River, which is a prominent feature of their homeland. The outfits of these Native Americans show the progress of assimilation with the Western culture. These men have put aside their native attires to wear shirts and trousers like the Americans. Some of them even owned cowboy hats to match their outfits. The Blackfoot people were primarily nomadic hunter-gatherers, relying heavily on the buffalo for sustenance, clothing, tools, and cultural rituals. They were also one of the first tribes to come into contact with the European settlers. The Blackfoot tribes faced tremendous challenges and fell into a decline after losing their lands and the collapse of the buffalo population. A First Nations man and his wife. The First Nations people are the Indigenous peoples of Canada who are neither Inuit nor Métis. They are one of the 3 recognized groups of Indigenous people in Canada under the Constitution Act of 1982, which also recognizes Inuit and Métis as distinct groups. This 1913 photograph shows young White Bull, a proud Miniconjou Sioux boy. His father was Joseph White Bull, the nephew of Sitting Bull. Their tribe was almost exterminated from history at Wounded Knee Creek due to the misunderstanding surrounding the ghost dance movement. The man in the center of this photo is Chief Joseph, the peaceful leader of the Nez Perce tribe, who sought peaceful solutions to wars at a time when other tribe leaders fought against the U.S. Army to protect their lands. Despite his treaties with the U.S. government, his people were forced to relocate from their lands when gold was discovered there. The Ute people are one of the indigenous groups native to the western United States, with a rich history and vibrant culture that predates European contact by thousands of years. They traditionally inhabited areas of present-day Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, and New Mexico. In fact, the name Utah comes from them. It means people of the mountains in their language. The Ute people are believed to have lived in the region for at least 1,000 years, adapting to diverse environments including deserts, mountains, and plains. This 1891 photo shows a group of Native Americans playing ping pong. Through the assimilation of Native Americans into Western culture, games like these were introduced to the indigenous people who quickly got a hang of it and enjoyed the exercise. This is one of the most famous Native American chiefs in history. Sitting Bull was a spiritual leader and head chief of the Hunkpapa Lakota Sioux tribe who united and led several tribes in resisting U.S. expansion in the 1860s. His strategic and spiritual guidance was pivotal to the few victories his people enjoyed against the U.S. Army. In 1885, Sitting Bull toured with Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. The show offered a salary of $50 a week, a significant amount at the time, which helped Sitting Bull support himself and his people financially. He also took advantage of the tour to educate Americans about the Native American people and culture. Navajo blanket weaving is a centuries-old tradition that holds deep cultural, spiritual, and artistic significance for the Navajo people. According to Navajo tradition, the craft was taught by Spider Woman, a deity who also gave the Navajo their first loom. Canoes were highly significant to many Native American tribes, serving as essential tools for transportation, trade, fishing, and other uses. Canoes were widely used to navigate rivers, lakes, and streams for travel between villages or hunting grounds. Horses were a common form of transportation in the Wild West, not just to cowboys, but to the native tribes as well. While most of their daily transportation can be done on their feet, Horses are necessary for long-distance journeys and play crucial roles in war, both for combat and scouting purposes. The Apache people have unique celebrations and ceremonies deeply tied to their spiritual beliefs, culture, and way of life. One such ceremony is this crown dance, also known as the Mountain Spirit Dance. It is performed by 4 dancers who wear elaborate headdresses and body paint, accompanied by drumming and chanting. The dance is meant to bring blessings, heal the sick, or protect against evil. In December 1890, a group of about 350 Lakota Sioux, mostly women, children, and elderly, led by Chief Bigfoot, fled their reservation seeking safety. They were intercepted by the U.S. 7th Cavalry and forced to camp at Wounded Knee Creek. The next day, a struggle broke out, resulting in the mass murder of all the tribesmen, women, and children. The war bonnets on these men's heads indicate that they were not just warriors, but also leaders and chiefs in their various tribes. Although most of these native tribes used to fight amongst themselves for territory and supplies, many of them collaborated to face their common enemy, the U.S. government. However, this gathering is not for war. Rather, the tribesmen are dressed in their ceremonial outfits. While the men stand out with their war bonnets, the women and children are adorned in dresses made from soft tanned buffalo or deer hide, decorated with beadwork and fringe. The indigenous people of North America were renowned for their bravery and fierceness as warriors. This was why it was difficult for the U.S. government to completely subdue them. Even when they had no modern weapons like guns and bombs, which the U.S. Army had in abundance, the native warriors were still able to hold their own against them. If you enjoyed these pictures, like and subscribe to our channel for more, as we'll bring you more fascinating pictures from the forgotten past.